Hello, good evening. You welcome to 6 o'clock news live on Kana Radio on Facebook. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel as Kana TV. I am Deliverance Ashebi and I'm here with my colleague.
Ahianyo bless Aram.
Let's take a look at the news headlines. The National Service personnel tells government that he should pay them their 2 months allowance.
Our economy was one of the fastest growing before COVID, better than Mohammed's record by Akufo-Addo.
In Gumwanyananyo, 3 have been arrested for setting man ablaze.
The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babkin, said he is a speaker because he was a very good friend in NPP.
This and many more stories we have for you if you stay with us in the next 20 minutes. Now, our first story. A group calling itself Concerned National Service Personnel, that is the NSP, has called on the government to pay personnel across the country their 2 months allowance arrears. This follows the delay in payment of the National Service allowances. According to the group, it is the mandate of the National Service Scheme, that is the NSS, to ensure the priority sectors in the countries do not lack in the requisite human resources needed for development. However, this is hampered in a way when personnel mandated to augment the necessary sector are hungry and have no transport fare to commute work. A statement issued by the group noted that personnel poised to serve the nation as part of the civic responsibility have been deprived of their 2 months payment unnecessarily with no prior information in regards to that. It further called on all discerning and well-meaning national service personnel to join in the quest to press home their demand. The statement continued that it is readily apparent the only language that is understood is a strike action, but we hope it doesn't get to that. It added if our payments can't be paid increase, it should be paid on time. Into our next story. The main suspect in the murder of a 39-year-old Francis Dawson, who was set ablaze at Fifi Pratt, a suburb of Gumwanyanya in the Gumwa East, has been arrested by the police. The suspects, including 2 women, Rose Isel Kaba and Trema Venice, who had relocated at Fetinta, a suburb of Berekum in the Bono region, were picked up by the police. It will be recalled that the EIP Network Central Regional Correspondent Yao Buajen reported on October 16, 2021 that the 39-year-old Francis Dawson was picked from his residence at dawn by some men claiming to be police officers. His dead remains were later found at Fifi Pratt, a suburb of Gumwa in the central region, and identified by his wife, who said she had been searching for her husband but to no avail. According to the police, a lead suspect known as Michael Osei, aka Major, upon interrogation, mentioned that he was tasked by one of the suspects, Rose Kaba, only led them to the victim's residence. According to the police, a further investigation cited by Kwame Teku Mensaba, 47-year-old, as the main suspect. He was therefore placed on the police track list. During the arrest, police retrieved from the suspect 53 passports, 6 rolls of dried leaf suspected to be Indian herbs, and 9 mobile phones, 8 SIM cards, varied ID cards of some persons, as well as other traveling documents from the suspect. Police have also disclosed that some other suspects who were arrested earlier in connection with the murder have been remanded. Into our last social news. Man killed over document, chief 8 others in police grips. The chief of Asin Achobanda, Nana Ahiato, the 4th and 8 others person have been detained in connection with the death of Daniel Akoto, who was killed allegedly over a dog meat. The Asin Praso Police Command DSP Moses Okakuno, who confirmed the arrest, said the suspects would be arraigned before court as soon as possible. According to him, this would pave way for the deceased body to be exhumed. He earlier noted that after exhuming the body, it will undergo autopsy as part of the investigation. NJ News, Kwame Osu Asante Shadrach, earlier reported that the Asim Praso Police Command has arrested 49-year-old Kwame Kumajina and Thomas Sankra for allegedly killing Daniel Akoto, popularly known as Abrantia, at Asin, Chwebwanda. He narrated that the deceased, 46, was struck with a stick on his head and suffered some bruises on his neck when a misunderstanding ensued among the three persons over the dog meat. A brother of the suspect called Kwame that his brother Sangra has invited him to a dog party, which he declined because he, that is Daniel, did not know the source of the dog meat. Daniel therefore suggested that Kwame questions his brother about the whereabouts of his missing dog, but Kwame, who got infuriated by the revelation, confronted Daniel with a stick, and in the process, the altercation hit him with it. The deceased, who was bleeding profusely through his nose and ears, reported the case to the unit committee members of the area. However, on their way to the hospital, Daniel died and committee members buried him secretly. The unit committee secretary, Swansea Lumo, and Gideon Zove, the brother of their involvement in the burial. Coming up is political news.
Into politics, it is encouraging that the rate of growth of the economy under my government and party is still better than what we inherited in 2016, are some of the words of the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when he delivered the keynote address at the National Labour Conference held in Kwewu Nkwantia in the Eastern Region on Monday, 28 February 2022. According to President Akufo-Addo, Ghanaians should not forget that prior to the outbreak of the pandemic, we witnessed average annual GDP growth rate of 7% in 2017. 2018, 2019, and part of 2020, when our economy was then generally acknowledged as one of the fastest growing in the world. Speaking at the event, he indicated that the proactive decision taken by the government to fight the pandemic, as well as strengthen and transform the economy with 100 billion cedis, Ghana COVID-19 Affiliation and Revitalization of Enterprises Support, Ghana Cares Obatampa Program, to create jobs and prosperity for Ghanaians over a 3-year period have begun yielding results. The first phase of the Ghana Cares Program, the phase of stabilization, came to an end in 2020. The second phase, which started in 2021, aims at revitalizing and transforming the economy between 2021 and 2023 and is focused on supporting commercial farming, attracting educated youth into agriculture, building Ghana's light manufacturing sector, developing the engineering, machine tools and ICT digital economy, developing Ghana's housing and construction industry, reviewing and optimizing the implementation of government flagships and key programs, creating jobs for young people, and expanding opportunities for the vulnerable in society, including physical challenged persons. In our next news, Mr. Alban Babkin has said he won the Speaker slot because even though he is a member of the opposition National Democratic Congress, he has very good friends in the governing New Patriotic Party. Speaking at a meeting with the Council of State, the former Nadowli Collier MP said it was important that MP is seen as the essence of Ghana's democracy. Democracy is about parliament. It's not about the executives. It's not about the judiciary, he said. Into our last political news, Attorney General Godfred Dame has said a recent petition by the National Democratic Congress (NDC) to the Commonwealth Secretariat is just an attempt to invade the clause of justice. In the petition signed by General Secretary Johnson Asiedun Ketia, Ghana's biggest opposition party said, since assuming the reign of power in 2016, the message of physical violence against political opponents that Nana Addo preached and championed before the 2016 general elections has turned into structural, institutional, and systematic forms of violence in the form of human rights violations, harassment, and political persecutions against members and supporters of the NDC. Mr. Dame, who is also the Minister of Justice, said, as far as he is concerned, all the attempts by the NDC is an attempt to infringe the power of Ghana. Up next is business news.
Let's do some business here on Ghana Radio News at 6. The outspoken editor-in-chief of the Insight newspaper, Kwesi Pratt, says Ghana is broke, can't even buy a bottle of beer. Prepare tea for a visiting head of state unless we go for a loan. The outspoken editor-in-chief of the Insight newspaper, Kwesi Pratt Jr., says Ghana's economy has become extremely worse to the extent that even to serve a stranger with a chilled bottle of beer, the nation will first have to go for a loan. According to Mr. Pratt, affording a beer is no more a luxury in Ghana. To him, Ghana doesn't have the money to buy even a bottle of beer for a visiting diplomat or a head of state. Detailing Ghanaians on the set of the country economy, Mr. Pratt was extremely worried about President Akufo-Addo's governance, stressing now, should a head of state visit us and is thirsty for a beer, we have to borrow before we can buy one bottle of beer. He added, as we talk today, if the president of Togo, Farouk Gassimbo, visits us and wants to drink tea, we have to use loan to make the tea for him. That is the reality. No, but that is the truth. That is how graphic can print the picture. When he comes and even decides to eat kokonte, we have to go for a loan. Aside giving a stranger a bottle of beer becoming a problem for Ghana, Mr. Pratt also lamented that except the country borrow, the president cannot have petrol in his vehicle to move around. If an accident has happened at Nima and the president from the Flagstaff House to Nima, we can't buy petrol into his car if you don't go for loan. 128% of your total national revenue is expanded on the two line items, the public improvement and debt servicing. How much is left to buy petrol into the president's car, he said. In his candid opinion, if only Ghana will progress, there must be a change of attitude and better way of managing the Ghanaian economy. Into our last business news, fuel prices to hit 90 per litre by the close of March. Fuel prices to hit 90 by the close of March, Quebec predicts. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana has projected another increment in fuel prices before the end of March this year. According to the Executive Secretary of the Chamber, Duncan Anwa, the free fall of the local currency cedi is a contributing factor to the increase of products in the market. He further indicated that crude oil and other petroleum products on the international market will continue to surge because of the Russia's invasion of Ukraine in the past few weeks. Currently, fuel prices are selling at 8.290 pesos per litre at some pumps across the country. In an interview with City Business News on the recent increment in fuel prices, Duncan Anwa said that the situation in Ukraine will remain, that international market prices will continue to surge. Again, we have a situation where the cedi is not doing so well. I foresee the Ghanaian fuel crossing 90 per litre before the end of March. There is a 7.42% increase in Brent Crude is 9.46% and 8.52% increase in gas, oil, and gasoline, respectively. Coming up is health news.
Into Ghana Health, a pediatrician from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Hilda Mantebia-Boye, has advised mothers to ensure that their babies are not left unattended to and should always stay alert to render proper care to them. In a health discussion with Kafui Day on the GTV Breakfast Show on Tuesday, March 1st, 2022, she explained that babies are unable to talk about how they feel, and it is the responsibility of the lactating mother to always examine what could be wrong with the baby. Speaking in relation to newborn care, the pediatrician gave instances that babies may find themselves in situations that make them cry. Babies often cry when they are uncomfortable or feel bloated. Babies may probably not be hungry because you fed them about 15 to 30 minutes ago, but they may be feeling uneasiness because of some air in their tummy, she stated. According to Dr. Mantebia-Boye, mothers need to always check the position of their breast in baby's mouth in order to prevent a lot of air from entering the baby's system, which can make the baby uncomfortable. For the breastfeeding process, it is important to make the baby's mouth completely covering the nipple and the dark area of the breast close to the nipple, so that baby won't be sucking in air or cause mother to have nipple sores. She explained that it is very difficult for babies to handle gas at their age and will feel uncomfortable and cry when having such feelings. Into our last story. The Tema Polyclinic recorded a total of 160 positive cases of HIV infections in 2021, an average of 9 infections every month. Nana Techiwa Frimpoma II, the principal midwifery officer in charge of the antiretroviral therapy and sexual transmitted infection, said this called for increased public education to stop the spread of the infection. In an interview, she told the Ghana News Agency that they saw 10 positive cases in the first month of this year. 2 of the affected persons are teenagers, and there is also 1 affected pregnant woman. Nana Frimpoma, who is also the Nimfahine of the Efuti traditional area, said people must protect themselves from the infection by either abstaining from sex or using a condom. She encouraged people to go for voluntary tests to know their HIV status, adding that the test was free. Dr. Stephen Eyisi Ado, Programs Manager, National AIDS or STI Control Program, has announced that more than 900 people died of HIV between January and June last year, more than COVID-19 deaths in the country during that same period. He told the Ghana News Agency that HIV is worse than COVID-19, adding that new cases of HIV were being recorded among persons aged between 15 and 19 years. He said the education campaign needed to be ramped up to stop the spread. And this brought us to the end of news at 6, but then a recap of our top stories.
National service personnel call on government to pay them their 2 months allowance.
Our economy was one of the fastest growing before COVID, better than Mohammed's record by Akufo-Addo. You can follow us on Facebook as Kana Radio and also subscribe to our YouTube channel as Kana TV. I am Ahianyo Bless Eyuram. I was here with my colleague
Deliverance Ashiabi.
Have a good evening.